just sitting here in the freaking dark.
Is that good
Jeez,
old load
hectic.
shedding?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
these
load
schedules are
shedding.
hectic. I'm just super cold now, so
Is your power off there, Dan?
no, I've got electricity. My power went off from 7 till 11, so yeah, I think I'm another couple of hours.
Okay, cool, man. How about your side, Dave?
I can't keep track anymore. I've stopped watching. It just goes out, and I just die a little inside.
Hectic, man. Yeah, it is. It is what it is now, unfortunately, eh? But
Yeah.
otherwise, if you've just joined us, ladies and gents, it's Andrew, Dave, and Dan on for our coffee chat today, which is all around property. Dan was at the Mafeking Northwest University last week, so we'll chat about that and the opportunities in property in the Northwest. But let us know where you are, where we, Joburg, Bloemfontein, Durbs, Cape Town, where are you in your journey? If you have any questions relating to your property, any support you need, please ask us in the comments box. And just say hi and reach out, and we'll see who joins us today. It is school holidays, as you can see. I'm out here in Durban with the family, just spending some quality time with the kids and the wife and the parents-in-law. And what we'll do is we'll take you through some of the events that we have coming up. It's quite a quiet schedule, but there's an awesome event happening this week in Cape Town with Dave and Darren Francis, the Investor of the Year winner back in 2021. That's another thing we'll chat about later on, is what's happening about Investor of the Year 2023. Dave, should we maybe just start off with your event this week, eh?
If you can give me a minute, because I just got kicked out of my login, so I'm just trying to get back in.
No
we
worries,
can circle back to that.
I'll start it off because it's going to be an awesome in-person at the property event where Darren Francis is flipping a property. It's 2 days where the guys will take you around an actual property and show you what the thinking that goes behind a flip, the potential risks of when you're flipping a deal, what to think about. Are you doing a back-to-back, or you're taking ownership, renovating the property, then selling it? You'll find when it comes to flipping properties, there's different ways of doing it. And you really need to make sure that you do run your numbers conservatively with regards to flipping, and who's selling it, an estate agent or you selling it. I've flipped lots of properties in my journey, and so has Daniel, and so has Dave. And there's a few golden rules around flipping. For example, when you're flipping a property, in my personal opinion, if the property does not sell within 2 weeks of listing it, you've either put the wrong price on there, or there's something wrong with the property or the area that you haven't seen. So write that down. If you want to flip properties, if the property doesn't sell in the first 2 weeks of listing it, beware, be careful. It's either the wrong price, or you've done something wrong, or it's the wrong area, or something's going wrong there. So Dave, you and Darren, is it this week, right?
Yeah, so it's this weekend. So like you said, we're going to be on person in the property on Friday, and then Saturday we got that masterclass. So I've got Darren coming in. I've also got Ridwan Bassa coming in for the mastermind. And essentially we're going to sit down, talk about the fundamentals of the property deal, cover the basics, make sure everyone knows what's happening. And then we'll have a proper mastermind session where we sit down, brainstorm about how we're finding deals in Cape Town, what deals are working, what strategies there are, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Darren's deal and what he should be doing with it. It's going to be a good fun one.
Definitely. You put the link in the chat box there.
Yeah, finally got the link.
Excellent, good stuff. And so that's this weekend, and then I know, well, this weekend, it's the end of this week. I know Daniel, with regards to SAP, launched SAP at the end of when was it? The end of April 2022, and we've got a lot of youth now setting up businesses, running businesses in the property space. To a point where you were asked to go to the Mafeking University last week, which we'll chat about just now. But tell us more about your webinar that you've got for SAP and Youth, which is next week Saturday. I think it's the 16th, eh?
Yeah. So next week Saturday on the 16th of July, on my team. So I'm going to get Ben Malapile on as well. He was a finalist of the Investor of the Year 2021. I'm going to get him to share his model, what he's been up to, the rent-to-rent model that he uses, how his Airbnb is doing. And I know he is doing a project as well, an installment sale we're doing together as well. So it's going to be good fun chatting about that. And the whole point of the event next week is to talk about how young people can get involved in the property industry, how they can finance their property deals, how they can find their property deals. So it's all about property and property entrepreneurship as a whole. So it's going to be good fun. I know there's a couple of places so far. We've done Soweto, we've been Johannesburg, Northwest, looking to Cape Town, and a lot of people have reached out asking, Daniel, can we please have something in our areas? So we are having the webinar next week to enable every single person in the country to tune in and to hear about
Excellent, man. That sounds good, Dan.
Youth and hear about how youngsters can.
Exactly. And if you have just joined us, this is the Coffee Chat with Andrew, Dan, and Dave. And if you have any property questions, please pop them in that comments box. And tag a friend and tag a colleague in. If you have anyone that's interested in the property space, tag them and now give us some love and engage us. We will be online for another 25 minutes, half an hour. And we are here to support you and to update you in terms of what's happening in the property market. Because what is happening? Are property prices going up or they're going to go down? Interest rates going up. Is it going to become a buyer's market? Are we seeing more repossessed properties? And if we are getting into big flipping where, the sale is going to happen in 10 months' time, what happens if property prices are going down in that area over the next 10 months? You've got to think of all this kind of stuff. So if you have any questions, please ask. But Dan, maybe just give us a good rundown in terms of what happened last week and where are the opportunities out in the Northwest.
So last week, after a very successful event, the 11th of June at the Soweto Theatre, Northwest University invited us to come down and speak to the students in Mafikeng and kind of highlight some of the opportunities available for youngsters in South Africa. And when I got, I must say, it was such an amazing time. I went down with the Westie Besties, a couple of the team that with, and it was just amazing, just the opportunities out there. We spoke, I traveled on the Wednesday, we spoke on the Thursday, and then left on the Friday, but it was an amazing event. We hosted a number of students talking about property entrepreneurship, and I got to visit local areas in Mafikeng and just understand the opportunities. I viewed a couple of properties, a couple of opportunities out there I feel is golden, hey, that a lot of people aren't aware of, I would say. First being the first, I tried to book an Airbnb for us, and I could not find an Airbnb close to Mafikeng, so I had to book one in Lichtenburg. Pardon my pronunciation for anyone that is based in Mafikeng, but Lichtenburg is 60 kilometers from the university. So there was no accommodations like close to the university. All crazy, the accommodations, crazy. All the accommodations are only only for students. So student accommodations, and they are probably no rental property. So moms and dads that work in Mafikeng have to live in towns which are much further out. So there is a shortage and high demand for affordable housing, in my opinion. And it's definitely something I feel we as a network, we as property investors can take an opportunity at and literally provide a solution for the residences and individuals in that area.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, 60 kilometers from the university is far, man. And that's what I think we should go have a look at, because affordable housing is on top of everyone's list, right? There's a massive opportunity and demand around South Africa in the affordability market, in the affordable housing market, shall I say. Question is, how do you get involved? Do you go buy land, or do you buy the houses ready-made? I think it's up to you and your strategy. We're busy discussing and talking around how do we go pick up the land, get the land rezoned and build on it. But then you're talking scale, right, Dan? Like they're talking massive pieces of land. I can see there that I was saying that usually the Airbnb Mafikeng is found in Unit 6. You should have searched for Mbato instead of Mafikeng. Maybe there's a lesson, Dan.
Yes, a big lesson I learned as well. I should have searched for that. And yeah, a lot of the accommodations, the properties that were showed to us burnt down, and the casino burnt down. So that's, like you said, Andrew, there's definitely opportunities there for affordable housing. It's just understanding the model that works, the financing that works. And from there on, how do you then go on to the next level? Are you lending money from financiers? And yeah, the university are actually planning some cool things as well to bring up the standard of living in their area. That's where the massive opportunity is. It's about like having conversations with the different players in the market and understanding what these individuals need. And yeah, there's definitely huge opportunities, huh?
Definitely. And weren't you saying something around that they might even be able to assist or arrange or connect us to funding for affordable housing, whether it's the land we're buying or the developments or whatever?
Yeah, so a conversation I had with the dean, they said that they had funded a couple of individuals to build some normal accommodations in the area because of one reason or another, nothing happened. And what they want to do is push a bit more. They want to be more aggressive in developing their town. What I found out, Andrew, is people from Mafeking are really proud about where the big desires that all the big players have is they want to make lasting impact. They're happy to connect SAPIN and SAPIN users, provided you do understand the markets. They're happy to connect most individuals to financiers to help bring the standard of living up. That's where I feel, yeah, this is huge, huge for individuals in Mafeking as well.
100%. I can see Clifford saying great opportunities in the Northwest. Now I'm of it. Do you live in the Northwest? Are you there now at the moment? Are you investing there? Let us know if anyone's invested in the Northwest or is investing, is developing, is building. Let us know, because we'll definitely be having a look at that area as well. So Keela's saying that he's always had his eye on the Northwest in Mafeking. So let us know if you are investing in the Northwest. Dave, in Cape Town, are you seeing things different? Are you seeing confidence in the market? Are you seeing more properties coming in the market? Are you seeing anything differently, or are things fairly the same as they've been the last few months?
No, I think load shedding is going to be pushing another batch of immigration. People are definitely looking to get out of the country at the moment. Load shedding just does that every time, unfortunately. That along with, a looming recession in the States, which will affect the South African economy. I think I've seen developers start to become aware of that. We've definitely seen a slowdown in development application town meetings. We're not talking about as many big projects as we were 6-7 months ago. So I think there's definitely a more conservative hat coming on, and there's definitely going to be a lot of stock coming on the market of guys who want to sell. Drew, last week we were speaking to Neil, our accountant, and he was talking about how so many business owners are doing their wrap-up taxes so they can immigrate, and they're selling their businesses, and if they can't sell their businesses, they're just closing it. So I think, unfortunately, a lot of the property movements we'll see over the next couple of months will be driven by load shedding, because not everyone can afford to do generators and solar. So I think that'll be a large driver in the near future.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's lots of talk around that about just fuel prices going up, energy prices going up, a lot of things going up. And, I guess us as entrepreneurs will find, like, I'll speak for myself, but I'll find a way to create more income, right? I'll be able to survive. I'll be able to thrive. But your average person who isn't, they're reliant on the income. And if the income's not going up, if their job's not going up, if their salary's not going up, but the expenses are going up, they just won't be able to afford it. Last night here in Durban, I see this young guy walking across to the neighbor like 2 or 3 times. Like, what's the kid doing? One of the parents can't afford electricity, so they have to go to the neighbor's house just to top up. And I just think, I watched this like young guy walking across, and I thought, across South Africa, there must be so many people right now that can't afford electricity, can't afford petrol. And I'm talking about the average person, right? And how that's only going to get worse, because prices are going to be going up, and it's a reality. Cash flow is king. Like, now, some people need to get their hands on cash. If you don't have cash, if you're asset rich, it means nothing. You've got to be rich in cash. You've got to create more. You think, as prices go up, how do you create more income in property? That's the question.
Mm.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, 100%. That's the reality of it. Is like you said, Drew, most people are just not able to be flexible with their income. I mean, I'm pulling some money out of the States at the moment, and I see the rand taking a dive, and everyone's going, "Oh no!" And I'm saying, "Oh yes."
Yeah.
Please, can we hit 17 rands at the dollar?
Yeah,
That sounds
exactly.
great for me, um, but not great for everyone
Dave's
else.
a
And that's the
badass.
reality. It's
Yeah,
quite some dollars to
exactly.
move, so it's fine. So that's it. Not everyone has that flexibility, and at the end of the day, that's it. We're going to see that impact, and it's either going to
Yeah.
be people who don't have an option, or there's going to be people who do have the option, and
Options.
that's your two extremes, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What I'm really like concerned about, what is really painful for me, is like the small businesses in the area as well. So it really is a bit heartbreaking. I'll just share with you, Andrew, when we're in Mafikeng, you'll see don't quite have it, and like you said, there will be a lot of that, and yeah, it's really heartbreaking, but it is a good time for individuals to venture into assets. I believe a difference, huh?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. But that's also what we're doing within the asset property investors network, called our community, hey Dan, where, and there's a question there from Autabile, which we'll answer now, where what we're looking to change in South Africa, or the impact that we're looking at doing, is creating sustainable businesses in the property sector. Businesses that you can get into and earn an income stream of, but not just one income stream, at least 2 or 3 income streams. But Autabile, they was talking about, the challenges of becoming an estate agent, where, people think, oh, I'll get into the properties in terms of becoming an estate agent. Don't think about becoming an estate agent that you're going to go list a property deal and get paid tomorrow. It's going to take you probably, for the average person, a good few months until you list your first property. Then when you list your first property, it's a few months until you get paid. So becoming an estate agent is great, but you need something to sustain yourself in the short term. And what could that be? I mean, Dan or Dave, in your opinion, what are some of the other income streams that we can look at in the property sector?
I think just on Orabile's structure, just reading through some of the details, Orabile, I think you need to be conscious of what that person's talking, because if you're an estate agent, if you're a candidate, or sorry, what's the apprentice estate agent, and you go do your first deal at 2 months in, you should earn a commission. There's no reason you shouldn't earn a commission from any deal that you do. So if they're talking that you don't earn commission for your first year, even if you do a deal, tell them to go somewhere else in a very nice way, because that's not fair. That's not reasonable.
On
Go for it, Dan.
Yeah, so Dave, gonna go. Cool. So just on that topic,
Yeah.
Rabile, just let us know maybe how old are you? I know it is a sensitive topic. I know at the Soweto event when Miss Daly spoke, the acting CEO of the Property Practitioners Regulators, Andrew, I think she had mentioned that they had created for the youth stipends to help them, to fund them through, say, to kind of help them build a monthly income, even though you've not yet made your first sales. So maybe that is a conversation we should have once you are back, Andrew.
Yes.
Some of those opportunities that can definitely help for the first year, if you have steady income coming in, whether you've made the commissions or not, and then you still get that large sum of cash once you do make your first sale, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good point there. I mean, coming back to you Dave, 100%. It could be that you become an estate agent. It could be your first month that you list the property. You should get commission on that property a few months later. And remember, the guarantees are in place. So, for example, you list the property, you find a buyer, the property is subject to getting financed. The buyer does get financed. You can also bridge your commission. So instead of having to wait 2 or 3 months, you can go to the attorney and say, listen, I've got 80,000 rands worth of commission. Could I please bridge against the offer to purchase? The guarantees are in place, and that's how you can get paid sooner. I think, Dave, what might have happened with Autabile, I've spoken to a few agents where they say the principals are telling a lot of the startup agents, and maybe it's to set the expectation where don't expect that when you do become an estate agent that you will get paid quickly. So rather paint a darker picture saying it could, because it does take some people 6 months until they list their first property. So it could be that you're going to be out of income. But if you do perform, you should be good. And then Dan, on your point over there with Delhi, I don't know, I completely agree. And I think it's a great idea, but I don't know how they're going to do that. So she's saying something like, you can, when you become a real estate agent, the problem is you've got to wait a long time for your com. And they're setting something, which I don't know what it is or how it is, where you get paid monthly. Hey, Dan, was it something like that?
Yeah, to assist, I think she said the young estate agents that they see this as their own source of income. So there is a couple of conditions you have to meet. But yeah, it's just to assist you for the first 12 months, from what I remember, for the first 12 months, sort of having a monthly income while you make that first commission. And I'm not too sure what happens once you do make that commission, that sale, if it does stop. But yeah, it's definitely an opportunity, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And Dan, let's speak to Delia, okay, when I'm back. And we'll see what she says. But I do see there, Dave and Dan from Vincent. Hi, I'm interested in property entrepreneurship. You're in the right place there, Vincent. I've already secured a piece of land at Soweto, so I'd like to know more about the funding of property entrepreneurship. Absolutely. Vincent, first question. What level of membership are you within the SA Property Investors Network? Are you free, foundation, intermediate, or professional? Let us know. We do have access to different financiers, especially in Soweto. It's a great opportunity. So we need to know more about your land. How big is it? Do you have the title deeds? What are you thinking of building? What experience do you have in property? It might be that you need to upskill yourself, Vincent, a little bit more in property, understanding the fundamentals. How are we going to renovate? Are we building from scratch? Are we building 10 units, 4 units? How big are the units? What type of tenants are you attracting? Is it student accommodation? Are they locals? There's a lot of questions we have to ask. So if you are new to property, I do suggest that you do get hold of Alani at Sapin if you're not yet a member, to make sure that you are upskilling yourself. And there are lenders out there like your Umastandis, Tough, Ikaya, Eyeball. There's quite a few of them out there. So it's making sure we connect you to the right financier at the best rates. So Dave, maybe just pop Alani's email address or the support email address, Vincent, and just ask for Alani, and she'll certainly help you out. Okay. Fantastic. It's a big opportunity in the townships, and we were only there a few months ago, or actually no, a few months ago, last month, at the Soweto Theatre, and we saw loads of opportunities. Didn't realize how big Soweto is. It's massive. It's awesome. Okay, let me see what else has come in. Cool. So, I mean, Dave, who else is on with us there? Can you see? We've got Naa with us. We've got Vincent.
No,
Bile.
Yeah, no other questions. We can quickly retouch on the upcoming events real quick, and if there are any other questions, we can take those still.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, let us know who's in Cape Town. Like who's from Cape Town right now. If you know of any property investors in Cape Town, please tag them in now. Let them know about what's happening later this week. Cool. Over to you, Dave.
100%. Yeah, just running through it all. So, like Drew mentioned, the 8th to the 9th, we've got our masterclass here in Cape Town. So that's myself and Darren. Friday, we'll be doing a live viewing at an existing property deal. And then Saturday, we'll be going into a boardroom, having a bit of a masterclass and a bit of a mastermind session, talking about how do we define deals, how's Cape Town working, what's the market looking like, and we'll get some insights from Ridwan Pasa as well as TPN. Will be sending us some data on the Cape Town markets. That's this weekend, so that's Friday, Saturday, and then the next event is the free webinar that Dan's hosting. Dan, if you want to tell us about that while I grab the link.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks, Dave. So that event is going to be a webinar. So from 9 till 2. Try finishing at 2, but it's structured around property investment and property entrepreneurship and around funding solutions for youngsters. Because a big question I've been getting during these events is how does one finance a property opportunity? So what I will do is I've invited Ben Malapile, who was the Investor of the Year finalist for the most growth. I think during COVID, he did about 6 property deals. A lot of Airbnbs, rent-to-rents as well. So he will Ben will be sharing how he financed those deals, how he found it, how he negotiated it, and together with the team, we will be sharing how youngsters can get started, not just in property investment, but entrepreneurship and the different opportunities out there. And yeah, it's going to be awesome, hey?
Definitely. It's going to be fun.
I see Daryl James says he's in Cape Town. He's new on this journey. So Daryl, the Cape Town event's a great opportunity for you to see some real deals. Some deals that are actually happening in Cape Town, which is always nice to see. A lot of us are always concerned about the prices of properties in Cape Town and if there's opportunities, but there definitely is. So Friday we'll be covering that in live, and then we'll have the masterclass on Saturday. So Daryl's a really good opportunity for you to join myself and Darren.
I can see that Yacht Road Develop Investments was asking if you were sending out some more info. I think you can just put the link in there, hey? Again, like you did earlier.
Yeah, 100%. You can just take the link. I will post it in there again. All the information is there. If you've already registered, sorry, because you're on a company name, it's hard for me to see if you are registered. But you will receive an email. I think it's tomorrow. I'll have to double check with the team when they're sending out that email, just all the finalized information.
Definitely, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be good. Now I was asking questions around the ticket, about ticket prices for Investor of the Year. So we will be launching Investor of the Year at the end of July. And we'll be giving you all the information at the end of July. And yeah, I mean, there'll be people that will be entering as an entrant because you want to put your deal or your business forward. There'll be the judges, and then there'll be the audience. And so I will give you all the information at the end of July. Investor of the Year is happening in August 2023, which is next year, August. That's going to be massive because we've got the venue, which is fantastic. And a lot has changed in terms of how we judge. Some really cool prizes will be there as well. So now watch the space, and we'll give you more information later on. Rebelli was asking, how does one become a property manager? Dave, how would you answer that?
Unfortunately, property manager is not a very well-defined position in South Africa, so it's very difficult to answer that question succinctly. Because you could become a property manager for a large company who owns multiple properties. In that case, you need to go BCom routes and accounting, somewhere around there, because you'll be doing asset management essentially. Or there's more on the ground property managers, the body corporate type people. For that, you've got to do some legal work. You definitely have to have your estate agent certification in place. Those are the two major definitions of property managers I can think of. I'm pretty sure there are more, because it's not a regulated thing like estate agents. There will be regulations in some sectors, but it's not like there's a defined role for what is a property manager, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, if you are starting out some property, it might be that you just want to manage a few properties, say with preferential as an example, like a few multi-lets or a few buy-to-lets, and it depends exactly what you're saying, Dave. What level are we going to? If you keep it simple, if you keep it basic, and you say, listen, Andrew, I just want to create an income through managing properties. I want to go out there and take on a few landlords, buy-to-lets, and multi-lets. Remember, when you do earn commission, you do need to get your fidelity fund certificate in place, and you'll need to work under a principal for that. And I think one of the advantages of getting into that space, if you did start your own letting agency or your own book within a letting agency, look, it is slower. Your commissions don't look that attractive in the beginning, but when you start building up that book and you start collecting your management fee every single month, and it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows to a point where you've got essentially what's called a book. And it will have an asset value attached to it. Then you start earning $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, and it goes up and up and up. So you get to a point where if you don't bring on new business or any new business that month, you still earn income, providing you don't lose any clients. So I really do love, I do love that property management space. You just got to ask yourself, where do you want to fit in? I've met many people that start their own little letting agents. They call themselves property managers, and I've met people who manage properties on behalf of Broll and Growth Point and all of that. So it might be that you need a bit more guidance on that.
Yeah, I think as with a lot of things, if you want to get into it, network with the people who are already doing what you want to be doing. That's why we talk about if you want to be an entrepreneur in the property space, if you want to invest in the property space, spend time with those who are already doing it. Similarly here, find someone who's already doing what you want to be doing. If you're young, take some time, apprentice for them. work for them, put the time in, build the experience, understand what the role looks like, and work your way up that way. It's the reality of how finding a job works. It's the reality of the South African market. There's a lot of unemployment. And if you can go in there and you can say, look, I apprenticed for this property manager for a year, you'll be a lot better off trying to find a job than the person who's been studying, who's been getting degrees on the side, but they have no work experience. Work experience does mean a lot in this industry.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So hopefully that helps. I just want to see if anything else came in there, Dave.
Yep. So Bella's got a question. Good afternoon, gents. Are there any opportunities for sustainable property developers in South Africa?
So we're talking about environmental impact. We're talking about green. Are we talking about eco? Yeah.
Yeah, that's generally the definition. Sustainability does have a lot of definitions, so we can take that approach.
Yeah. Look, if we are talking like green and eco and that kind of stuff, I met as you know, David, the last business partners breakfast. I met the guys from IFC. I met the guys from the World Bank, and they've got big initiatives for going green here in South Africa, not just South Africa, it's the whole world. But I met the guys from Canada, Bulgaria. They've all moved into South Africa. They're partnering up with banks or lenders like business partners, like Absa Bank, with a Nedbank, where they came up with some really cool products in terms of homeowners just getting onto or going green and developers. I think there is room and space, and I think we'll see a lot more of it. In fact, Dave, with Investor of the Year, I'm wanting to bring a green category into Investor of the Year. So my answer is yes. I mean, Dave, what did you say?
Yeah, look, for me, it definitely depends on the sector. Across the board, most cities are pushing for some greener development. So 10 years ago, if you did development, they wouldn't really worry about your energy performance, your EPC stuff. They wouldn't really worry about how you're heating and cooling and making sure that you're putting proper insulation in. So that's one thing that has come into play. So all developments are a little greener than they used to be. In terms of if you want to go build an eco lifestyle estate, unfortunately for me, that's very much an upper market thing. So it's a bit more of a challenging market to get into. But then there's also the other side of it, making sure if you're using good recycled materials, sustainable materials at a low cost development, and you try to keep that low cost, that's also a really good opportunity. In Cape Town, and along the coast, Durban, PE, there's a big push at the moment for affordable developments, nice, high quality, but affordable. So there's a big demand for people who are essentially leaving Joburg. But Joburg also needs it. So there's always the opportunity. There's always like people always need a place to live. Our housing shortage is huge. Last that I heard is about 20% of people are staying in informal housing, which feels very low. I don't know why Stats SA came that low, but that's apparently the official number. So there's always the opportunity, as long as you're providing a reasonably priced one. And like Drew says, there's opportunities to bring on extra financing, extra funding to help buyers get solar installed or anything like that. Work with the partners and bring on board the right product, and you'll do fine. It's always good demand, but we'll see what the recession.
Definitely, yeah. And watch the space, and we will be releasing more information in the up and coming months around that. Hey, Dave, especially if we've got a green category going on. But we'll communicate that later on in the year. Okay, cool. I mean, Dave, I don't see anything else coming in. I think we've answered all the questions. You've posted the links for this week's event. There's an email address there for support. So Orabele does suit a Woodford and Sapper Youth, Dan. So I've asked him to email it to support that, and then Alani can help us out. Cool.
Yeah. I think one last question has just come in, if we want to answer that real quick, from Daryl James. Is student accommodation still a viable property development strategy with the new dynamic of online training? In short, yes, it's still going to happen. Universities are still in person. Even in the new world that we live in, the demand for in-person training is there. You got to remember that a lot of people who would attend university don't always have the facilities to do remote study from home. I mean, Andrew can barely afford decent internet. I know there's just bad internet in some parts of South Africa, and people just need to come on campus and live near their universities. And then there's fields like engineering, and you just have to be on campus.
Yeah, I was going to
Right,
say
okay.
there's certain subjects and stuff we actually have to be on campus. And I spoke to somebody at Wits University that deals with accommodation housing. It's exactly what you say, Dave. There's students that can't do it from home. Yeah, the wealthier students could, but the majority of students can't. They have to be on campus. And the thing is, a lot of students want to be on campus. They want to be there with their mates, and they want to be studying at the campus. So it's a very good question, because that question was asked a lot during COVID last year about, geez, do we still get into student accommodation? Do we not? And the general consensus from a lot of experienced property investors, as well as liaising directly with VITS, is that the opportunity and the demand will still be there for student accommodation. So answer is yes from my side.
Yeah, 100%.
Alrighty.
Dan, you just came from Northwest. Did you anything to say on this just before we wrap it up for the day?
Yeah, Dave said it all. There's definitely lots of deviation to the point where any single person in Northwest that developed a room turned it into student accommodations instead of like housing normal moms and dads. And yeah, being a student myself, I wouldn't want to live in my parents' place while studying. So yeah, no student wants their degrees or whatever. So from that aspect, I definitely do agree with Andrew and Dave. Student is still viable, done right, having proper systems. And I've never had a student accommodation, but one thing I do know is students are demanding and extremely high maintenance. So just have proper systems and you should be fine.
Okay, cool. Nice one. Sounds good. Okay, Daryl, that answers your question, man.
Yeah. Daryl, if you want, join us on Saturday. Happy to answer more of those questions. Always going to be talking about them. But Drew, I think we can call it there.
Yep, sounds good. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dave. Dave will see you Captonians this week at the live in-person event, or you'll see Dan at the Sapper Youth event on the 16th. And I'll see you next week, Monday.
All right. Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Sounds good.